Doug Christie has unleashed one of the most explosive legal battles reality TV has ever seen. A lawsuit targeting not just a betrayal, but a web of deception and financial fraud involving his own wife, Jackie, and teammate Chris Webber. After years of silence, Doug has chosen the courtroom over tears or pleas, demanding justice for what he calls a lifetime of lies, stolen years, and emotional damage. Now, Jackie, Chris Webber, and even Christie's boss are embroiled in a legal storm, facing allegations of paternity fraud, identity manipulation, emotional distress, and a staggering claim for damages exceeding $4.6 million. The bombshell DNA test revealed what many feared but few dared confirm. Chris Webber is the biological father of Jackie's daughter, not Doug. This revelation isn't merely about broken trust. It strikes at legal documents, child support obligations, and the entire financial foundation Jackie and Chris had constructed. Jackie's brand, once thriving, is crumbling, while Chris's endorsements are evaporating. Meanwhile, their daughter, Chantel, is caught in a painful crossfire of conflicting identities, court battles, and a growing family scandal. Doug kept quiet for 2 decades, but now he's coming for everything. This isn't just a personal vendetta. It's a legal reckoning dismantling Jackie Christie's empire. The emotional sting of raising a child for 20 years only to learn he is not the biological father is compounded by the public humiliation and betrayal by his wife and teammate. Doug's legal assault aims to hold both Jackie and Chris accountable, ensuring they don't simply walk away. Filed in Los Angeles County Superior Court, the lawsuit reads like a high-stakes Netflix courtroom drama, but this is reality. Doug accuses Chris and Jackie of calculated emotional cruelty, fraudulent misrepresentation, and profiting from lies. He's seeking damages starting at $600,000, a figure that may rise as more evidence surfaces. And there's plenty of it. DNA tests proving Chris's paternity, Jackie's own journal entries admitting the truth, recorded voicemails urging the maintenance of a false narrative, and even a contract clause where Jackie falsely claimed the child is Doug's. Doug's attorneys laid out a detailed ledger of financial losses: $180,000 on private schooling, nearly $100,000 on college expenses, $72,000 in medical bills, a lavish $230,000 Sweet 16 party, and $150,000 in damage to Doug's personal brand due to the fraudulent paternity story. Jackie's VH1 earnings and sponsorships, totaling almost $1.9 million, are also part of the lawsuit, along with claims on Chris Webber's share. The total damages sought exceed $4.6 million. Further complicating matters, Doug's legal team uncovered suspicious financial dealings, hidden accounts, questionable consulting fees tied to phantom reality TV companies, suggesting deeper deception. The courts may soon consider not just civil penalties but criminal charges related to the falsified birth certificate. What started as a strategic legal strike risks turning into a full-scale downfall of a carefully constructed facade. In a desperate attempt to silence the truth, Jackie allegedly tried to bribe her own daughter, Chantel, offering $15,000 to avoid testifying, a move that amounts to witness tampering. Chantel refused, documenting the offer and alerting Doug's attorneys, who quickly responded with a cease and desist order. Jackie's public Instagram meltdown followed, further fueling public scrutiny. Depositions have brought even more explosive revelations. Doug testified to the psychological pain of deception, admitting he ignored red flags for the sake of family. Jackie's testimony, riddled with contradictions, revealed her awareness of the child's true paternity from the very beginning. Yet she persisted in the deceit. This unfolding saga is far from over, with each revelation peeling back layers of betrayal, manipulation, and legal drama, turning a reality TV scandal into a landmark case with ramifications far beyond the courtrooms of Los Angeles. During the deposition, the question was clear and direct. Attorney, did you explicitly list Mr. Christie as the biological father on Chantel's birth certificate? Jackie's response was telling. She confirmed Doug's name had been used, but only because the nurse had asked under a flood of emotion and stress. No formal paternity test had been done. It was a rushed decision, clouded by pressure and uncertainty. Then came Chris Webber, stepping quietly into the legal arena without fanfare or support. a man who seemed to know the gravity of the moment. His words shifted the course of the case. He admitted that Jackie had confessed to him her doubts early on, yet silence was maintained to protect Doug's feelings. That silence, however, only deepened the wounds. Under oath, Chris's acceptance of this deception laid the groundwork for Doug's claims of emotional and financial damage. Doug's legal team wasted no time driving the point home. Jackie and Chris knowingly let Doug raise a child that wasn't biologically his for over 20 years. Chris conceded this, expressing regret, but for the court, remorse arrived too late. The evidence was now undeniable: a fabricated identity, a confirmed DNA match with Chris, and a calculated cover-up. Add to that Jackie's attempted bribe to keep Chantel silent, and the case against them only grew stronger. Behind the scenes, Doug was quietly gathering strength, his public statement succinct and powerful. "This is about responsibility, not revenge. I never asked to carry this lie, but those who created it will answer for it." The public rallied behind him, sparking viral discussions on paternity fraud and pushing for stronger laws protecting fathers from such betrayal. Meanwhile, Jackie's once flourishing career started to crumble, her real estate business severed. Ties, a podcast she co-hosted, was canceled, and even her reality show's syndication rights were pulled for breach of morality clauses. Chris, in contrast, retreated into private turmoil, reportedly overwhelmed by the scandal's fallout. Insiders revealed a desperate text from Chris to his team. "This is spiraling. I wanted to keep it quiet." But silence was no longer an option. The story exploded worldwide, with Chantel herself preparing to legally change her last name. In a rare leaked interview snippet, she spoke candidly, "This is about living my truth, not the scripted life my mother wrote for me." Her upcoming memoir, built on lies, My Life as Someone Else's Daughter, promises to deepen Jackie's public downfall. The courtroom drama was far from over. Jackie now faces potential criminal charges for witness tampering, while Chris braces for a second civil suit. The judge is even considering televising the trial, transforming it into a spectacle watched by fans and critics alike. VH1, closely monitoring the damage, contemplates cutting all ties with the Basketball Wives franchise to protect their brand. Doug, however, has remained remarkably composed. He declined numerous offers to monetize the crisis into documentaries or reality specials, determined instead to use his newfound platform solely to reveal the truth, not to entertain. As the trial began, Doug sat poised, his attorney opening. With a strong charge, Jackie and Chris betrayed the trust of the man who raised their child, weaponizing loyalty for personal gain. The evidence, DNA tests, a falsified birth certificate, recorded voicemails, journal entries, and the bribe attempt, left no room for doubt. Jackie's defense painted her as a conflicted young mother caught in emotional turmoil. But when pressed, she admitted under oath that she knowingly let Doug believe Chantel was his daughter for decades, a deception that bolstered her personal and financial standing. Her composure cracked under scrutiny, her tears failing to sway the court. Then came Chantel's testimony, a moment that would forever alter the course of this emotional saga. With a composed yet unwavering demeanor, she took the stand and faced her mother, Jackie Christie, not as a frightened child, but as a young woman determined to tell her truth. What she shared was not just a personal account, it was a powerful indictment of a family built on deception and fractured by betrayal. Chantel described the profound impact of growing up feeling more like a brand accessory than a daughter, caught in the tangled web of her mother's carefully curated public persona, rather than truly being seen or understood as her own person. Her words painted a vivid picture of the emotional chaos that surrounded her childhood. The confusion of having a biological father, Chris Webber, who appeared only sporadically at family gatherings, his role shadowy and ambiguous. For years, Chantel lived in a liminal space between conflicting realities, sensing something was off, but never fully understanding the depth of the truth until it was forced into the open. The revelation that the man she had always believed to be her father, Doug Christie, was not her biological parent, and that the man who was, Chris Webber, had been absent and silent for so long, shook the foundation of her identity. Chantel's testimony was raw, honest, and deeply human. She spoke not with anger, but with a measured sorrow that resonated deeply in the courtroom. Her pain was palpable as she described the emotional toll of being caught in a lie so vast that it shaped her entire life experience. Yet amid the hurt, there was a profound respect and appreciation for Doug, the man who, despite the deception, had been the true father in every meaningful way. "Doug was the only parent who never lied to me until he discovered the lie himself," she declared, her voice steady but filled with emotion. This statement underscored the distinction between biology and the essence of parenthood, between the truth of DNA and the truth of love and care. Her closing words struck a powerful chord with everyone in the courtroom and beyond. "Truth hurts, but lies destroy," she said, succinctly capturing the devastating reality that while the truth can be painful to face, the corrosive power of lies is infinitely more damaging. It is the lie that corrodes trust, shatters relationships, and leaves wounds that are difficult to heal. Chantel's testimony transformed the case from a legal dispute into a deeply human story about identity, betrayal, and the search for truth. In that moment, Chantel reclaimed her narrative. She stepped out of the shadow of her mother's deception and into her own light, a symbol of resilience amid heartbreak. Her testimony was not just a recounting of past wrongs, but a call to acknowledge the consequences of lies within families, especially when those lies are woven into public personas and profitable brands. Chantel's courage to speak openly about her experience challenged everyone to consider the real human cost behind headlines and scandals. Through her voice, the courtroom, and the world was reminded that behind every legal battle are lives profoundly affected by truth and betrayal. However, verdict was decisive. Jackie was found liable for emotional manipulation, paternity fraud, and financial deception, ordered to pay nearly $3 million in damages. Chris Webber was held jointly responsible with restitution of $1.7 million. Doug emerged vindicated, the Aljads, wronged father finally recognized by the law. As cameras swarmed Jackie's silent exit, her team issued a muted statement rejecting the verdict but offering no apology. Chris acknowledged his mistakes publicly, expressing hope for forgiveness from Doug. Yet it was Chantel who stole the spotlight, standing beside Doug at a press conference to declare, "Doug Christie is the only father I have ever known. Chris may be my biological link, but Doug is my family." Their embrace captured a moment of truth and healing, while Jackie's empire built on deception lay in ruins behind them. Her public image? Shattered. Her family? Fractured. Her daughter, her husband, her entire legacy, erased. Doug didn't celebrate this downfall, nor did he mock. Instead, he walked out of the courtroom with quiet dignity and a new purpose. In time, he revealed his mission, partnering with a national organization dedicated to fighting paternity fraud, championing fathers who've been deceived just as he was. This story is no longer just about one man's heartbreak or personal battle. It has become a symbol of a much larger, deeply troubling issue faced by countless fathers across the country and beyond. Doug's experience echoes in the lives of many men who, like him, have been blindsided by deception, forced to raise children they believed were theirs, only to discover devastating truths later. Doug's resolve to fight back is more than just personal vengeance. It's a mission to give a voice to those who have been silenced by lies and betrayal. "I won't rest," he says with conviction, "until every father silenced by lies finally has a voice." This is a call to action that transcends one courtroom or one family. It's a rallying cry for justice and recognition for thousands who have lived through similar pain. Doug understands that real healing doesn't come from sensational headlines or fleeting public sympathy. True closure, in his view, stems from concrete, meaningful change, legal reforms, increased awareness, and the courage for those wronged to step forward. The scars from such betrayals don't simply vanish once the lies are exposed. Even when the truth finally comes to light and the deceit is laid bare, the emotional and psychological damage lingers. Trust once shattered is difficult to rebuild, and the effects ripple through families for years. Jackie Christie's role in this saga highlights the devastating power of deception when wielded over the most sacred of bonds, family. For more than 2 decades, she crafted a carefully constructed illusion, a facade that painted a false picture of love, loyalty, and parenthood. Through this fabricated family narrative, she not only lived a lie, but profited from it, building a public persona and career on the foundation of deceit. This raises serious ethical and possibly legal questions. Should Jackie face criminal charges for the elaborate and deliberate falsehoods that have so profoundly impacted multiple lives? The implications of her actions go far beyond personal betrayal. They touch on fraud, emotional abuse, and the manipulation of legal and public systems for personal gain. And then there's Chris Webber, caught in the middle of the storm, the biological father who allowed another man to raise his child unknowingly. His silence, whether out of fear, shame, or complicity, has become its own form of betrayal. For years, he watched as the truth was obscured, and now, after the damage has been done, he seeks forgiveness. But can forgiveness be freely given when the wounds cut so deeply? His role in this tangled web raises difficult questions about responsibility and accountability. How does one reconcile the reality of being a father in name only, while the man who was deceived carried the burden of fatherhood every day? This unfolding story is a powerful reminder that lies within a family are never just private matters. They have profound consequences that affect not only the individuals directly involved, but also the broader community and societal understanding of identity, trust, and justice. Doug's fight is no longer his alone. It belongs to anyone who has been wronged, silenced, or erased by the lies of those they trusted most. Doug gave his all, his love, his trust, and in return, received only betrayal wrapped in secrecy. This raises a pressing question. Are we looking at mere emotional harm or a carefully orchestrated scheme fueled by money and manipulation? Since silence isn't protection, it's complicity, should Chris Webber be stripped of every NBA honor he's earned? Amidst this chaos, Chantel stands alone, the only one to emerge with her spirit whole and unbroken. Now it's your turn. Don't hold back. Tell it like it is in the comments. What would you do if your family, your legacy, was dismantled and reconstructed as this story reveals? If you believe betrayal carries a price, subscribe and turn on notifications because the next revelation could make this scandal pale in comparison. Here, we're not just recapping gossip. We're igniting conversations, exposing truths, and digging deep beneath the surface. This is Ground Zero,